Number 7, 1957, Buick Century Caballero Estate Wagon. It wore Buick's most aggressive engine in a body nobody saw coming. The Century nameplate existed for one reason: take the smaller Buick body, drop in the biggest engine available, and see what happens. In wagon form, that meant a 364 cubic inch V8, 300 horsepower, wrapped in two-tone paint, chrome from bumper to bumper, and that signature Buick sweep spear side trim that made it look like it was moving even when parked. But here's the twist. The Caballero was a hardtop wagon, no B-pillar, frameless glass. Roll all four windows down and that roofline floated above you like a canopy. In 1957, no other wagon on the planet offered that. It was a design decision that made absolutely no structural sense and looked absolutely incredible because of it. The conflict? Buick only built it for 2 years. Dealers didn't know how to sell it. Too expensive to be a family car. Too practical to be a luxury car. It fell between categories and the market didn't know what to do with it. What happened because of it? It became a collector's obsession. Finding a clean Caballero today will cost you more than most sports cars. The market eventually figured out what the dealers couldn't. This thing was special. Number 6, 1955. Chevrolet Nomad GM built the perfect car. Then they killed it. The Nomad started as a concept, a show car, something to generate buzz at Motorama in 1954. The crowd reaction was so violent, so overwhelmingly positive, that Chevrolet did something rare. They actually built it. Two-door body, hardtop roofline, full rear cargo area. It was a Bel Air and a wagon fused together, and it drove like neither and better than both. The base engine was the new 265 cubic inch small block V8, the same unit that launched Chevrolet into the performance era. Optional upgrades pushed output even further. The twist? The Nomad was heavier than the standard two-door Bel Air. That roofline, those distinctive rear pillars with the angled chrome trim, it cost weight. And in period road tests, it was slower than the coupe it shared a platform with. The conflict? It also cost more, significantly more. Buyers who wanted performance bought the lighter Bel Air. Buyers who needed cargo space bought the four-door Wagon. The Nomad satisfied both and somehow sold to neither in the numbers GM needed. Production ended after 1957, just 3 years. That's not even the craziest part. Today, a clean 55 Nomad is one of the most desired collector wagons in American automotive history. The car that couldn't find its audience in 1955 has an audience that will pay 6 figures for it in 2025. Number 5, 1958 Edsel Bermuda Wagon. Ford's most infamous failure built one of its most beautiful wagons. The Edsel name is synonymous with disaster. Everyone knows the story. But buried inside that catastrophe was a wagon so well-proportioned, so genuinely striking, that it almost saved the brand by itself. The Bermuda was the top-trim Edsel wagon, 3-row seating, optional 410 cubic inch V8 producing 345 horsepower, dual exhaust, push-button transmission controls mounted in the center of the steering wheel, a feature so futuristic it confused owners and charmed everyone else. The twist? The Bermuda was, by almost every objective measure, a good car. Reliable, powerful, spacious. Contemporary road testers praised the ride quality and the interior space. The conflict was everything surrounding it. The marketing was wrong. The timing was wrong. Launched directly into the 1958 recession. The vertical grille divided opinion brutally. And Ford's internal politics meant the Edsel division was fighting for resources it never fully received. What happened? The entire Edsel line was canceled within 2 years, one of the shortest production runs in American automotive history. But the Bermuda survived the brand's death in the only way that matters. It's now one of the most collectible wagons of the era, sought after precisely because of how few were made, and because underneath the Edsel badge was engineering that deserved far better than the chaos surrounding it. Number 4, 1957. DeSoto Firesweep Explorer. This wasn't just a wagon, It was a statement from a brand fighting for its life. DeSoto sat in the middle of Chrysler's lineup, above Plymouth, below Chrysler. And in 1957, Chrysler's entire design language was detonated and rebuilt from the ground up by Virgil Exner's forward look philosophy. The result on the Firesweep Explorer was violent, dramatic tail fins rising from the rear quarters like blades, a low, aggressive beltline, and underneath, a 245 horsepower V8 in base form, with options pushing further. The twist? Chrysler's 1957 body engineering was revolutionary and deeply flawed simultaneously. The cars were lower, wider, and more aerodynamic than almost anything GM or Ford offered. They were also built with body panels that began showing rust within 18 months of purchase. Chrysler had rushed the new bodies to market, and quality control paid the price. The conflict? DeSoto was producing some of the most visually aggressive, genuinely exciting vehicles in America, while the rust was quietly destroying the brand's reliability reputation underneath the chrome. What happened because of it? DeSoto was discontinued in 1960. The brand that built the Explorer, one of the most dramatic-looking wagons ever assembled in America, was dead within 3 years. The survivors, clean, unrusted Firesweep Explorers, are extraordinarily rare now, because most of them didn't survive. Number 3, 1956. Mercury Montlair Phaeton Wagon. Ford built Mercury to outstyle Chevrolet. This is where it worked. Mercury in 1956 occupied a specific psychological space in the American market. More expensive than Ford, less conservative than Lincoln. The brand was aimed directly at buyers who wanted to be seen. The Montlair wagon delivered that. Two-tone paint schemes that split the body horizontally with surgical precision. A 312 cubic inch Y-block V8. 210 horsepower standard, but the optional Thunderbird special package pushed output to 260. That engine was not standard wagon equipment. It was borrowed directly from Ford's two-seat sports car. The twist? Mercury's wagon lineup in 1956 was genuinely competitive in straight-line performance, with many dedicated performance coupes of the era. A loaded Montlair wagon could embarrass vehicles that had no business being embarrassed by a family hauler. The conflict? Mercury kept it quiet. The marketing material focused on interior space and family comfort. The performance was almost incidental, built in because the platform and engine availability made it possible, not because anyone at Ford's marketing department was prepared to sell a family wagon as a performance machine. What happened? Word got out anyway. Period enthusiasts figured out what was under the hood, and today the Montlair wagon represents something Mercury's marketing never intended, proof that the 1950s family car could be genuinely, quietly fast. Number 2, 1959, Chevrolet Impala Brookwood. The fins were illegal in some countries. The engineering was ahead of most sports cars. By 1959, the American tail fin had reached its biological maximum. On the Impala, they didn't just rise. They spread laterally, extending outward from the rear quarters in a horizontal sweep that made the car appear wider than some aircraft. The Brookwood took that design and stretched it further. Full rear cargo area. Optional 348 cubic inch V8 in multiple states of tune, up to 315 horsepower in the top configuration. With positraction rear differential and the right transmission, this wagon pulled hard enough to unsettle inexperienced drivers. The twist? The 1959 Impala body was so wide, so dramatically styled, that several European countries restricted its road use on narrow streets. A family station wagon, legally too wide for certain European roads. The conflict was internal. Chevrolet's engineers knew the 348 was being pushed close to its engineering limits in high-output tune. The block was durable, but the breathing was restricted. The engine that would replace it, the 409, was already in development. They were selling the last version of a power plant they already knew was being surpassed. What happened? The 409 arrived in 1961 and became legendary. But the 348-powered Brookwood in maximum specification was the last expression of that engine's potential, and it was wearing a station wagon body when it happened. Number 1. 1957 Ford Del Rio Ranch Wagon. This was the last time Ford built a wagon with no compromises. The Del Rio is not the most famous wagon on this list. It doesn't carry the Nomad's mythology or the Edsels' infamy. What it carries is something rarer. It was engineered correctly, priced correctly, and sold correctly, all at the same time in 1957. Two-door body, full cargo area, available with Ford's 312 cubic inch Thunderbird Special V8, the same engine, in a wagon. With optional Ford-O-Matic transmission and the handling characteristics Ford had spent 3 years refining on the full-size